Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Whatever parts of the world you're currently watching our video blog. Today's Thursday, 4:35 p.m. here in the East Coast, and weather's once again turned out to be very nice. Granted, it was colder last night. It was at like 45 degrees. And even today, yeah, it's a little nippy out, but it's sunny and bright, so it's perfect walking weather. So I decided to go out and stretch my legs for a little bit and say hello. All right, folks. What's today's topic? We're going to be talking a little bit about geoeconomics and geopolitics, just because our channel is dedicated to economic development, geopolitics, geoeconomics, and trade commercial development, and the fourth industrial revolution into the fifth industrial revolution, which is the merging of machine and human capacity. Even though it's no longer a merging of human and machine capacity, because according to Elon Musk, when he spoke at the World Economic Forum, that in less than 2 years, machine is going to be smarter than the world population. Imagine that. And I kind of agree with him. As I type my thoughts down on my Word document, artificial intelligence is telling me what words to use and how to structure the sentence. And Chat GPT and all these AI applications online are outdoing man's ability to think. Granted, they can't quite outdo their way to be creative and to be influential, but they are definitely trying to challenge our ability to influence hearts and minds. So that takes me to our original topic: geopolitics and geoeconomics in Europe and the US. Okay. So what has artificial intelligence got to do with it? Well, mainly because how these markets are now being developed and tailored using artificial intelligence. All right, folks. And so we're going to talk about the last speech that was made by Vice President J.D. Vance in Hungary. So if you guys are aware of the overall situation in Europe, Hungary is actually one of those countries, or maybe if the only country, that is actually countering many of the policies, or maybe agenda, if I can even say agenda, of the EU, the European Union, and the European Commission. And on top of that, they're very vocal on their disapproval. Is that a word? Oh yeah, disapproval of the war in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine. And by far, I kind of understand why Hungary simply don't want to participate, don't want to support and fund the conflict. But going back to the message of Vice President J.D. Vance, he's a young guy, okay? He's not even in his 50s yet. But I think he is informed on certain issues between the US and Europe. He doesn't have a lot of, expertise, obviously, in Europe, since he's never really worked and lived there, but he is somewhat, qualified to share information that is relevant pertaining to our overall position as a country when it comes to European affairs. He did mention that the country was birthed out of Europe, which I agree. And many of our people, Americans, originated from Europe. So it makes sense that, this administration is not very happy and overly criticizing Europe, because they want to protect Europe. They want to make sure that Europe is stable and peaceful. So, and I agree with them. Sometimes people don't really look at the big picture. They look at, the small issues and try to major on minor things. And I think many European countries are majoring in minor things, unfortunately. So I think they need to start looking at the big picture, which is bringing Europe back to normalcy, stabilizing the markets, and making sure that Europe is productive and safe and peaceful, and no other pressing issues will disrupt the overall continent. And so, even though Mr. Vance, Vice President Vance, have never lived or worked in Europe, he did, emphasize on the big picture. And so that's something that I appreciate. I've been living and working in Europe for many years. And the number one most important, paramount, environment for me, for Europe, would be having peace and market stability, political stability in the region. So that's something that I would definitely support. Peace and, market stability. Because I do business in Europe, and the only way to do business and be profitable in doing business and benefiting the public is when you have a, peaceful, safe Europe. By the way, I also have relatives there, and some of my very closest friends lives in Europe. So my vested interest in Europe is to make sure it's safe and peaceful. So that's why I'm, glad that the vice president actually had the, backbone to, say what he said, right? Okay, folks. Now, what else did I want to talk to you about? Geopolitics and geoeconomics tend to go hand in hand, especially in smaller regions, smaller continents and countries, because when somebody coughs, everybody gets the cold. And that's kind of happened to Europe as a marketplace, as a single unit market, which is created by the Eurozone. So that's why it's important for the war to end and bring everybody back to normalcy and, resume trade and commercial activities, flow of investment into the continent, and vice versa, the continent be able to invest in other markets. All right, folks. Anyway, yeah, so these are the things that I kind of want to share with you today. I think it's important for regular people to understand what's really going on. The war could have been prevented, first and foremost, and people keep ignoring the fact that the war shouldn't have even escalated to this point that it is now. So let's say hi. Molly Malo, hello. Who else said hello? A bunch of you guys. Alondra 599, nice to see you again. And so what I was talking about is basically, you know, the public aren't discussing, you know, the fact that things could have been prevented, right? And the reason for that is because they kind of been silenced, especially, you know, Western media. They don't want the truth to be revealed. Okay, so that's just the reality of things. Because if truth were to be told, very few people would want to support just one side. I think both sides will be able to state their cases, and the world would know what really took place. But unfortunately, many of the Western media, and mostly because of the liberal agenda of many countries, it basically, you know, created an environment that favored one side, and sometimes that side was the one that started everything. It's the side that actually initiated the conflict and aggression and all that stuff. But you know, I think it's important that people understand that this conflict should have been, or could have been, what's the word I'm looking for? It could have been avoided. Okay, right, folks? So anyway, yeah, it's just something that I wanted to share with you, because at the end of the day, when you don't know what's going on, it's much easier for you to be brainwashed. And trust me, it's not hard to brainwash the public nowadays. So yeah, folks, I just kind of want to point that, you know, that information out to you, because, you know, I think a lot of people have already suffered. A lot of people already been dis. So it's important that we keep those accountable, and balance things out. You know, give people, everyone, a voice, so they can share their overall opinion, their facts, or even some of the, you know, information that might not be relevant. But you want to give people the opportunity to voice their concerns and their minds. Okay, that's how a real democracy is supposed to be. Wow, it's really nice, warm, or mild. I shouldn't say warm. I've gotten so used to using the word warm. It's actually mild temperature. I'm not sweating as much as I did 2 days ago. And look at the skies, beautiful skies. You can see the planes lining up the sky. Beautiful, beautiful sky. And up there is my baby girl Bella, enjoying her time in the clouds. Yep, I miss her tons. I do. But I also know that she's no longer suffering. She's no longer in pain. So have a wonderful time up there, baby girl. So where was I? In terms of giving the public the opportunity to create their own opinion, voice their concern, and have a debate or dialogue of what's truly taking place. I mean, I think the public should know and have the right to know what's really happening. Ooh, that's an interesting bullhorn, whatever it was or wherever it's coming from. So what I was saying is that it's important for the public to be notified, and unfortunately that's not happening. The Western media have created a barrier to information. It's like stonewalling information that doesn't quite fit the narrative that they're trying to influence hearts and minds with of the public. And guess what? It backfired big time, and it will continue to backfire. The role of the media is not to promote propaganda, try to spread misinformation or fake news. The role of real media, is to be fair and balanced and share facts. It's just the reality of things. You have to share facts. If you don't, then facts will start to reveal themselves, and guess what? You will be exposed, and it's now backfiring and exposing corrupt politicians, corrupt political agendas, corrupt media, anyone that is evil and nefarious. The light is shining and exposing them. Okay, let's see this creek. Still high up on the basin on the water, and let's see if we can find any snapping turtles here. They typically just lob their head or backs through the surface, and no luck today. We haven't had luck the last few days, and spot some snapping turtles, unfortunately. But we will not give up. We shall keep on looking around for snapping turtles, because they're fun to watch, especially when they're feeding and chewing and gnawing on a piece of branch or whatever it is that they manage to find and eat. Anyway, so I was watching some YouTube influencers, broadcasters, talking heads, listening to opinions of certain individuals that pay attention to the news more than I do. And seems like the world is coming together and agreeing that the war in Russia shouldn't have even happened. I think it's just one of those things when the stars and the universe lines up and exposes certain issues and conditions that we were led to believe is in our best interest, which isn't really in our best interest. Nobody's best interest is going to be served when people go into a war situation. So yeah, anyway, I just hope that this war ends soon, bring the region back to normalcy, save lives, preserve lives, and prevent more conflicts like these from happening. That's my, wish, my Christmas wish almost. Even though we just ended it Christmas just 4 months ago. Anyway, yep. So I just wanted to share Mr. Vance's point of view and how he managed to pieces and connect the dots together. Okay, I mean, you don't need to be a subject matter expert or brainiac or anything that is even remotely close to being 100% informed, but you do need to have some logic, common sense, and ability to reason, and based off of deductive reasoning, I think he was right. There was no need for the war to happen. Okay, so that's my thought also. I mean, could have been prevented diplomatically, but unfortunately the administration that was in power at that time completely mismanaged the conflict, unfortunately. So here we are today, 4 years later, or actually it started back in 2021, or if you even want to go all the way to 2014, how things kind of brewed and fester and basically evolve to what we see today. All right, so yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's just because so many people have been affected, On top of that, never gonna be able to bring back those people that ended up dying, such young lives snuffed out over this conflict from both sides. Just not the best way to do things. All right, folks. So yeah, anyway, man, it's a really nice day, beautiful day. So this is one of the reasons why I look forward to walking outside, because it gives me the opportunity to exercise, sightsee, and enjoy the view, and connect with our audience. The most important part of this platform is our friends and subscribers, because without you guys, well, I'm still most likely going to be doing what I'm doing, but it gives me the opportunity to reflect on things that matter to you. So I'm not just talking about things that I wanted to talk about. So it helps when you have an audience, so that they can bounce off ideas and engage, interact with you. So that's something that I'm truly very happy and honored that you guys are here with me, walking the neighborhoods, checking out the park, and having a wonderful time outdoors. So okay, folks, that's something that I am truly grateful about. What I'm gonna do, I think this time around, is cut through the tennis court again, just because the closest I walk near the street here, the louder it gets. So I'm gonna try to avoid the commotion and the noise. Anyway, did you have anything that you would like for me to talk about, don't be bashful. Let me know, and I'll do my best to talk about them. Okay, folks. Yeah, so let's see. I have been asked to talk about my background. People continuously ask me to talk about my background, which most of it is available online. You can Google search me and find my bio. I publish my bio, and as I mentioned before to the public, do not listen to anyone that won't introduce themselves to you, that they won't reveal who they are to you, but they have plenty of things that they want you to follow or talk to you about, but they won't reveal who they are. Never ever follow those types of people, because most of the time they're just making things up or using other people's content. So yeah, that's what I wanted you to consider, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that talk about, you know, their opinions, but they don't really have anything to back it with. Mainly because it's all off of what they see online, you know, information that they're just basically following and snatching off of other influencers or other people's information. So yeah, anyway, folks, yeah, I'm vlogging. You want to say hi? Yeah. Hi. I want to say hi. Go. It's on Faceconomics TV, so look it up. We're on YouTube. All right. All right, guys. All right, thank you. So anyway, some guys wanted to say hello, but anyway, folks, just wanted to you know, let you know that people that are honest, transparent, and want you to trust them will go above and beyond and introduce themselves to you, even if they get judged, laughed at, you know, you name it, attacked. The genuine influencers of this planet will tell you who they are. All right, folks. That's just the sole hard fact. Influencers that are genuinely interested in talking about information that they have experienced themselves or have learned and built their capacity on will talk to you about who they are. Well, they'll share it. They'll share their information with you. The fake ones will not. They'll give you their first name or an alias or a fake name and promote their platform so that no one can fact check them. No one can look them up. Okay? And those are the phony influencers, in my opinion. You want to be influenced by real people that has a lot of credibility on what they're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna cut through here since it's getting really loud next to this busy street. So unfortunately, that's just how it is here. It's not like other state or communities where you can stay away from the noise. Here everything is right next to the street, and because of it you can never get some silence. It's so hard to hear people. So yeah, anyway, folks, thanks so much for joining me today. I've got a few more minutes of walking to do, and going to talk a little bit more about that we didn't get to explore while we were walking, which is what's important in life. I apologize if I talk about all these things randomly. It's just that when I'm walking and my brain is active, a lot of things keep popping up in my head. So I just kind of want to reflect on these things as I walk, because eventually when I get too tired, and most of the time people can tell that I'm getting tired, it's when I'm talking gibberish and people don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So you can basically figure me out that way. When I'm tired, exhausted, I talk about anything, and most of the time, or half of the time at least, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to people. But when I'm awake, active, and ready to rumble, I end up talking about things that people are so blown away. They're like, oh wow, Al, this is gold stuff, golden. Okay, so, but right now I think I'm gonna just reflect on what really matters in life. Is it money? Yeah, it could be, but it's not the only thing. You know, is it power? Is it influence? Is it big houses? Is it, you know, tons of friends? What really matters in life, folks? To me, what really matters in life is what makes you happy. What makes you feel like you're contributing to society, that you're building your capacity, building something. That's what makes me happy. You know, travel too. You know, I love to travel when I have the opportunity to. And luckily, I have had the opportunity to travel. So, right, that's why I just want to reflect on what really matters in life. You know, sometimes because of the hype, because of disingenuous hearts, because of the fake, you know, motivations and agendas of people, they focus in on material things, they focus in on wealth, which is not bad. You know, I'm not dogging by any chance. I'm not trying to dog people. Whatever makes them happy, let them do whatever makes them happy. All I'm saying is me, what makes me happy. And as I mentioned, those things that make me happy tend to be more long-lasting, and you know, it shows, at least to me, that my time on planet Earth didn't just occupy space. I actually made a difference for the next Earth walkers. And sometimes I talk about Earth walkers because nowadays there's people going to the moon, they're going over into outer space. So maybe in the next 100 years when I'm not around, there are going to be some vloggers up on the moon, and that's going to be funny. But I guess the first vloggers did land on the moon and did their video blog on the moon. Granted, it wasn't that long of a video blog, and it was hard to really understand what they were trying to convey and show to the world, but they managed to land on the moon and videotape their landing. So those were the first vloggers. Okay. Right, so we're back on the side of the street again, unfortunately, mainly because I don't have anywhere else to go to walk on. But we've been, oh wow, we're actually moving pretty fast. So I guess it's funny, you know, I don't always have a consistent time when I'm walking. There are times that I clock a full hour, 60 minutes when I'm walking, and then sometimes I get half of that, which is right now I have 34 minutes. So yeah, it's funny. I thought it'd be consistent, but now it seems like we've only been walking for half an hour, so we're moving pretty fast. Okay, but it's all good. We'll just keep on talking until we get to where we need to go. But like I was saying, things that truly matter are your relationships, things that you build, not, you know, in terms of projects or maybe business or whatever, that will change people's lives. You know, maybe create things that will benefit the next generations, or benefit society, benefit, you know, your country, the world. You know, to me, those will be the things that truly matter. Building wealth will come, you know, as you go. That's something that I truly believe in. Wealth and money will follow those that, you know, will be able to duplicate it, will be able to grow it, will be able to make it, you know, flourish. You know, don't overly focus your time and energy on making money where you alienate people, where you hurt people, because I've seen it both ways, folks. I've seen people that don't have a lot of money, but they have a lot of, you know, very inspirational things to share with the public. And I also seen people with money that are not worth the penny to talk to, okay, and be around with. So you can be a balanced individual with money and have the influence to attract people, and want those people wanting to be around you. All right, folks. I'm not saying sell ice cream where everybody would love you. I'm saying that always find a balance. All right, make money, make friends to share your time with, and maybe even that money. So that's what life is all about, because we're not gonna be here forever. No one's gonna be on this rock forever, okay? And sometimes we need to realize that the best way for us to contribute to the world and to society is to help it make it better. Now, it's a pretty broad word and general in many ways, depending on your philosophy of what better is, what it should look like. But I think there is a universal truth to making this world a better place for the next inhabitants. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about, is the clear, uncontested truth that we can share with the world. All right, folks, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, superficial things can be attained, and most people tend to go for superficial things, and if that's what floats their boat, let them. Okay, I'm not here to knock people, I'm not here to dog people. I'm simply saying that in life you have to know what it is you want. Okay, that's important. You have to know exactly what you want in life, because if you don't, you'll chase anything. You know, you gotta know what you don't want, you gotta know what it is you want, because at the end of the day, it's you versus you. All right, folks. So, and just wanted to emphasize that. Anyway, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? Having a healthy body, having a healthy mind and body. Push yourself. When you don't want to exercise, you don't want to work out, which most of the time happens to me, push yourself anyway. Trust me, the older I get, the less I want to work out. But I also know that it's imperative for me to exercise, either walking or with weights, push-ups, whatever I can find a way to move my body and basically get my blood going so that I get some exercise. Right now I'm sweating a little bit, but my heart's not pumping as it needs to be because I've gotten used to walking. So after you do certain things that your body's so used to, then it tends to become complacent, and they stop doing what it's supposed to be doing. But with that said, folks, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you joining me today. And until we meet again, please make sure to subscribe, like, and share our channel with your family and friends. Help us build our community. Help us make a positive difference in this world. There's some haters on our platform too, but they're welcome to be haters. But those that are not haters, please share and tell your friends and family about our channel. Have them subscribe. And yeah, that's it. We'll keep on doing what we're doing until we meet again. You guys have a wonderful weekend ahead. It's very likely I might do another podcast or video like tomorrow. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.